everyone. Welcome to the Cārvāka podcast. Your host kushalmehra. All right, we're back with the UFC 267 preview. We are sorry we could not preview 266. So back with me, Sham. Sham, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back. Good to be talking some more UFC again, and we'll get to do it again next week, which is new.
Yes, which is going to be unreal because in back-to-back weeks we have two amazing cards. So Sham,
Yeah.
let's start with the main card. UFC 267. The main card is Jan Blahovich versus Global Tashera. What do you make of this fight?
It's a really great fight. This is one that I'm looking forward to. Probably just about tied with the other one we'll talk about, but I'm really looking forward to this one because it's a really good style matchup. Like Blahovich and Teixeira, people. One of the things that I was hearing when I was looking at this fight is a lot of people were talking about how Blahovich is like a clear favorite on the ground, like on the feet. If the fight stays on the feet, Blahovich is a clear winner, which I can see why, because like the guy hits like a truck and everything. But the thing is, like, if anybody has followed Teixeira's career for a significant amount of time, you'll see that guy hits very hard. That guy, I think he has the
True.
most finishes in light heavyweight history. I think so.
I think
Teixeira
so.
has the most number of finishes in light heavyweight history, which tells you what you need to know right there about his finishing power. So this guy can also finish people. He's finished a lot of people, and not just on the ground. So, Blahovich might have a slight advantage standing up for sure, but I do think that Teixeira probably knows it. Teixeira can also hit very hard, and then on the ground, Teixeira, I think, has some extra tools as compared to Blahovich. Blahovich is not he's not a bumpkin on the ground either. He's very good. His jiu-jitsu game is very good. But Teixeira is I think he just has a couple of extra tools when it comes to the ground game. So in that ways, you know how they always say styles make matchups. So this is a very good style matchup.
Yeah. So let me pull up their record here. So let's see. There you go. Is it there? Yeah. So Jan is 28-8, and you have to remember Blahovich's loss were in the early part of his UFC career. Since then, he's really taken it up a
Well,
notch.
it was only since the Luke Rockhold fight, really, I think, and
Yeah,
maybe a couple of fights before that he's really started to make this comeback. And that's Teixeira's story as well. Teixeira had this title shot with John Jones, and I think he lost another fight after that or something like that. And it looked like he was done as well. He was like 39 or something when he lost to John
look
Jones.
at this. Look at the percentage of wins by KO and TKO by
Yeah,
Glover.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
58%.
This guy finishes fights,
Crazy.
man. Yeah. And that's
It's
that's another
crazy
thing that they
fights.
tell you, right? Like when you get older, you lose a lot of things, but the last thing to go is the power.
This is
Right.
what bothers me with Glover, and this is where Jan has a chance, right? Look at
Hmm.
the strikes absorbed per minute for
Yeah.
Glover Teixeira. It's 3.84, and
Yeah.
if Blahovic hits you,
Yeah. You can't afford to be hit that many times by a guy like Blahovich in a fight.
yeah,
You can't afford to be hit even once. Like Rockhold got hit once and then he just never recovered.
oh yeah, that
That's
was
the kind of
lights out
power
for
this guy
him.
had. Well, in the first round, he got like hit with like a kick or like a punch. The first time he got hit, you could see his eyes were glazed over, and then he was no longer in the fight. And then in the second round, he got knocked out. But after he got hit like clean once, he was gone.
Yeah, but what did you think of this that they did not make it a pay-per-view?
What do you mean? Is this not a pay-per-view?
I don't think so. This is a pay-per-view. This is available on ESPN for people
What?
outside. Yeah,
Oh,
you didn't
so
know
if
that?
like a wait, is it pay-per-view for America, for people in America, or not? I
I don't
think.
think so. I don't think so.
Also, it's
Check her.
available to everyone on ESPN.
Yeah, I think this one's
Huh.
going to be available on ESPN Plus or something.
That's
I don't
ridiculous
think so.
because
This is
this
a
is a
pay-per-view.
great card. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not as stacked at 268. 268 is the most stacked card of the year, but like still Blahovich, Teixeira, Pyotaryan, Cory San Hagen, Makachev, Dan Hooker, bloody who's that guy? Hamza is fighting on it. It's a great
Yeah,
card.
yeah. So that's what I'm
Volkov,
saying. So there are
Thaibura,
so
my
many
God.
fights over here, right?
Yeah.
So let's go to the next fight. My personal favorite fight. the reason. I'm not trying to put Blahovich or Tashera down. I love
Yeah.
both of the, especially Glover. It's so nice to see a fighter at this age making such a nice run,
And the
because
funny thing, Kushal, is that they're both very similar. Like they have very similar UFC stories,
mm,
and they're both like very likable. Usually, there's like a villain and there's like a
yeah,
hero in every fight, but they're both
there's
like
no heel
very
in this
very
one.
likable. Yeah. So it's hard to find like who do you root against, because it's impossible to root against either one of them.
Yeah, it's this is the thing. This is a fight of two nice guys in
Yeah.
UFC, but honestly, the fight that I'm really looking for, and I think to me this is the people's main event of this card, is
Hmm.
this one, man.
Yeah.
Oh, what a fight! Oh, what a
It's a
fight! This is
great.
going to be a barn burner, man.
Yeah.
Pyotaryan versus Cory San Hagen. I believe Pyotaryan was really the champion until he
He
did that
he is. He
stupid.
still is. I don't
Yeah,
consider
I
Aljamain Sterling the
yeah
champion because I
yeah.
think
Aljo is
Pyotaryan
not the
won
champ.
like all four rounds, I think, or at least three out of
Yeah,
four rounds.
until he hit that illegal knee,
Yeah.
he was basically dominating the fight,
Yeah.
if you ask me. But just look at the records again. Cory Sanhagen, I mean, the win-loss record is fine, but
Yeah.
the only thing I could say is that maybe Cory has a reach advantage,
Yeah. He
slight,
has a reach
which is
advantage. The thing with Pyotaryan is like the problem with that guy is he's the fucking Terminator, basically. Like, I
yeah.
don't think there's another fighter in the UFC. Maybe I'm missing someone, but I don't know if there's another fighter in the UFC that has a tank like Pyotaryan. Pyotaryan can go 5 rounds without breaking into a proper sweat. Like he's not even breathing
Mm,
hard at the end of 5 rounds. Like that's the kind of tank this guy has. And when you have the tank like this guy, when you have the striking skills of this guy, when you have the ground skills of this guy, it's a very difficult puzzle to solve. Like I watched the fight that he had against what's his name, Jose Aldo. I watched his fight against Jose Aldo, and I was like,
oh yeah.
what is this, man? This is a whole different puzzle to solve. Like Jose Aldo is not a bad, like Jose Aldo is an elite fighter, still at a very high level, I would argue. Like if you watch his last fight,
Yeah.
he's at a
Look at him
very high
fight, look
level.
at him performing at 135
Yeah,
in general,
he
right?
still has a very high level, and better Jan make him look like a little boy. He wore him out, he made him tired, and then he finished him. And yeah, I just think that he has again a couple of tools too many, maybe for Cory Sandhagen. Maybe that's what I think.
Yes.
I
So
I
I was
would I
listening
would
to Big
even for the
John and
matchmakers, I think he's probably the favorite, right?
I was listening to Big John and Josh Thompson, and
Yeah,
their analysis was, because see, look, I'm not a technician, but
yeah,
so their analysis was that if it is on the ground, I think Pyotaryan has a better chance than Cory Sanhagen. But
yeah.
I mean, did you see Cory Sanhagen's fight with TJ Dillashaw? Who do you think won that fight? I wanted to know your view on that, first
I
of all.
I think Sandhagen won
Yeah,
won a split decision. That's what I thought.
yeah,
I was a
I thought
little
too.
bit I don't have huge complaints with the result, but I was a little bit surprised.
Mm. Yeah, I was also. I mean, I'm not saying that giving TJ Dillashaw that fight was a steal or
Yeah, I
anything
don't think it
by
was a
any
robbery, but I was
imagine.
surprised.
Yeah, yeah, but it was so tough to call. It is one of those things, right? Every time you watch, you can say, "Oh, this guy won" or "that guy won." It was
Yeah,
that close. Um, it's very interesting
yeah,
that Cory Sandhagen now gets this shot after losing a fight to TJ Dillashaw, which brings me to the question here: do you think this is a fair thing? Should they have waited, because TJ technically
waited for
beat.
TJ or waited for Font?
No. So, yeah, so my question was that, okay, originally this fight was supposed to be Pyotaryan versus the current champion Aljo, right? So Aljo got injured, and obviously they had to cancel him.
Yeah.
Cory Sanhagen comes in as the last minute replacement because TJ Dillashaw was not injured. But do you think it's fair to TJ Dillashaw?
Did he want to take this fight though? He said he didn't want to take this
He
fight,
could
right?
not have taken this
Yeah,
fight because he was like injured. But
yeah.
overall, do you think
I mean, if
then
he has
who
an
gets the next
injury,
title shot?
yeah, if he has an injury, then what are you gonna do? We've always known this about Dana White. Like Dana White doesn't really give a shit. If somebody is injured, if somebody's not available, he doesn't care how much that person deserves it. He will give the fight to someone else because his job in his mind is to make the fights happen. That's how he thinks. मेरे को ये fight करनी है, I'll put whoever is willing to fight, basically. So, in a sense, and Paul Felder was saying this today, I think on one of the UFC videos, Paul Felder was saying that, a lot of people believe that Cory San Hagen won that fight. So in a way, you can see as some sort of cosmic justice key, he gets to, prove himself once again. So I don't
Yeah,
really
I'm
have a
happy for
huge
Cory.
problem with it. Yeah.
I'm really happy for Cory San Hagen. I really love his style of fighting. I think he's an amazing fighter. The way he goes in and out, it's just fascinating to watch him. How he pieces his
What would
opponents
have been
up.
a good fight? I mean, this is a great fight, but another great fight I feel like would have been Sandhagen versus Font. Because Font's boxing has improved so much. In his last fight, I was like, this is like, his boxing has gone up so many levels in just a year or so. So I was like, Font versus Sandhagen would be such a good boxing fight.
Yeah, who's Font going to fight? I forgot. They did book him. I forgot who's he
I don't know
fighting
who
next.
he's fighting. I don't know if maybe he'll fight Dillashaw now.
Yeah, I
He'll
don't know.
probably fight
Let's see.
Dillashaw now. Yeah. Which is another great fight.
Yeah. Now the third fight. Could we officially call this
Wait,
the
I didn't ask
coronation
you
of Islam?
who do you think goes in the Jan Sandhagen fight? Who do you think
I think
has?
Pyotaryan. I think he's the
Why do you
slight
think so?
favorite. Just well, I just think he has more tools in his arsenal. And you see how he fights every time he trips his opponent and then he makes them stand up. He has that unique style of fighting. And did you notice he was doing the same in the Aljo fight? He would trip Aljo, take him down, and then bring him back again. He had that. I think he would give Sanhagen some trouble. I think he's the slight favorite.
Lot of trouble. That tank that guy has, like his stamina. I can't think of another fighter that has the kind of stamina this guy has. Like I've watched him in round 5 and he's like barely even breathing heavily. I'm like, kya janwar hai bhai?
Yeah, he's crazy, man. I mean, he just doesn't get tired. And if you look at his fight overall fight time and average, he is very high.
Very high.
Now look at. I think this fight is officially now the coronation of Islam Makhachev. I think, if you ask me. So we're talking about Islam Makhachev versus Dan Hooker. I will not. I'll still ask, who do you think is the favorite? I mean, it's obvious, but
yeah, I mean, look at the bookies. I was looking at the bookies for this, and so Islam Makhachev in this match is a minus 650 favorite.
whoa,
So you know where the bookies are at. You know what the bookies are thinking. So, and I can understand why. Like, this is a guy who came from Khabib's wrestling school, or like trained with Khabib, grew up with Khabib, basically. So he's trained in that catch wrestling that has basically completely taken over MMA wrestling at this point. Like everybody wants to wrestle like that Dagestani wrestling style. So he's come from that style.
look at that takedown
one
average.
of the other things, one of the other things that people were doubting this guy, can he stand up? Can he trade punches, stand up? And I think his stand-ups underrated. I think his stand-ups are pretty underrated. He's in every fight that he's fought, he's actually caught people. He's actually, his boxing's pretty decent. And I think the reason his boxing is decent, the reason he can catch people is that he's always got that threat. He's always like, he's always doing that faking. He fakes level changes all the time. So he does this, and the person, they're so afraid of his wrestling that they immediately put their hands down and they're like, "Arey, yeah, aaya sala." And that's when he like catches them with a punch and then takes them down.
Look at the stats. 3.31 takedowns per 15 minutes, 65% takedown
accuracy, 88%
takedown defense, and 1 submission average. This is like
insane. It's ridiculous levels, man.
Insane is the right word.
Yeah, it's insane.
I mean,
and the thing with Hooker is like Hooker's a very good fighter. He's a very dogged fighter. He likes dog fights. Like Hooker's favorite kind of a fight is a dog fight. And I don't know if Islam Makhachev is going to give him a dogfight, because Islam Makhachev is going to be like, if this is turning into a dogfight, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to try and take you down. And Dan Hooker is very good. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. I don't think his jiu-jitsu is elite by any stretch of the imagination. So you're going to have to think that when you're at a point when Islam Makhachev does take you down, can you fight it off? And I honestly don't know if Hooker has the kind of jiu-jitsu to be able to fight his wrestling off. The only chance that I think he has is if he can get him on the feet. He can get that knockout.
Obviously it's mixed martial arts, so every fighter has a puncher's
Every
chance.
fighter has a
So
chance.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, everybody has a puncher's chance. But I think this has to be the most obvious
You would think.
one-sided
You
one.
would think. Yeah, you would think. And I'm sure Hooker has a point to prove. Like he's approaching this fight like he has a point to prove for sure.
Another sneaky good fight in this card is this one. People
Yeah.
are not talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, Alexander Volkov versus Marcin Thaibura. Marcin
Yeah.
Thaibura, just for your information, is on a 5-fight winning streak.
Yep.
He has won his last 5 fights. Marcin Thaibura is again one of those sneaky good fighters that
Yeah.
don't get discussed a lot outside of the experts and there, because they understand the game.
All these
This
fighters
guy's
coming from
good,
Poland
man.
now, man. Poland's producing some pretty decent fighters. You have Jędrzejczyk in the women's division. You have Blahovich, who's the light heavyweight champion. This guy in heavyweight.
Mhm.
Poland's producing some talent.
Yeah, that's
India
true.
की बारी कब
And that's,
आएगी देखते हैं.
see, with Alexander Volkov, it's obvious he has to keep it on the ground, and Marcin is going to take him down. Alexander has to keep on jabbing, and look
Yeah.
for a good one to
And
knock
he has
him
a
out.
huge, he has a pretty big reach advantage. At least that's what I think. I don't
Obviously,
know
I
how
mean,
tall they are.
it's not
Yeah,
that.
6,
I mean,
7,
78
6'3".
inch.
Holy shit! Oh wow!
Yeah, but look at the
What
reach,
long
the
arms,
2-inch
dude.
reach
Yeah.
advantage. Yeah,
Wow.
and
Long
so
arms.
Marcin Thaibura, obviously, it's a striker versus grappler contest. This is
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the
Look at his takedowns. My God. Yeah, he has to keep it standing because his takedown defense isn't great. Because he's so tall, he's like a tower. His
yeah,
center of gravity is like shit. So
yeah,
you push him even a little bit, बेचारा गिर जाएगा.
yeah. That's a problem. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now everybody's happy. Khamzat is back. Li Jingliang versus Khamzat Chimaev.
Yeah.
बाय द वे, ये
But
ली जिंगयांग तेरे को याद है ना, ये वही है जिसने वो आई पोक किया था. सबसे ओपन चीटिंग मैंने मेरी लाइफ में कभी अगर एमएमए में देखी है, ये वो है. वो ऑस्ट्रेलिया का जो फाइटर याद है ना तेरे को, इसने उसकी आंख के अंदर ऐसे अपना अंगूठा
ऐसे
ठूस
ऐसे
दिया
कर
था
रहा था
भाई
भाई
ने.
अंगूठा. हाँ, I
हाँ,
remember that. But I'm excited to see Khamzat. This is what weight class? This is 170, right?
yeah, 170
170 है ना?
welterweight. Yeah,
Welterweight.
welterweight.
If I think it's too early to say this, but Kamaru and Khamza is such a good potential fight. Like it's
Too
too early
early.
to say. I know it's too early.
Too
It's way
early.
too early to say. There's too many contenders. I agree, but it's just such a in my brain. It's such a great fight. Kamaru Khamza. Oof,
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
I
someday.
think so. What do you think? This goes the distance, or Khamzat finishes
I
him in the
think
first round?
I don't know if he finishes him in the first round because he's taken a break. I don't think he has fought for a year. So
Yeah.
I think it will I don't think I mean it could well be, but I think this goes at least a couple of rounds. It could even go the distance, but I definitely think it'll go a couple of rounds. Because you're not looking at the guy who's been like I'm sure he's been training forever this whole year, but I think it might go into like second round at least.
Man, it would be awesome if he finishes him off
Yeah.
in the first
Because
round.
what
itself.
happens? So let's talk about this. What happens? Let me see the welterweight rankings. UFC.
Yeah, pull them up.
Yeah. So let's see the welterweight rankings. Okay. What happens if Khamza wins? Yeah. So Khamza right now is where? Where is this guy? Where is this guy? Khamza
He's
isn't
not
even
in the top 10.
top 10.
Yeah, no, he's not
even
in the top 10.
top 15 right now. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's say Khamza. Wait, oh, this is pound for pound. That's why I'm confused. I'm looking at where is bloody welterweight, man? Here's welterweight. Okay. So is he not even in the top 10? No, he's not even in the top 15. Okay, so Khamza,
No,
if
he's
he
not.
wins, if he beats, so Li Jingliang right now is number 11. So if he beats Ling Jiang, who's like number 11, then you can say he's got a good shot at somebody like he should call out somebody like a Bilal Muhammad or a Michael Chiesa, because I think Didn't Chiesa and Bilal? Oh no, Chiesa fought Luke. Yeah, he could call out somebody like a Chiesa or a Bilal Muhammad. I think that's a good fight for him. Like
Oh,
Bilal
that's a
Muhammad is
good
number
one.
9.
Bilal Muhammad.
Bilal Muhammad
I
is a good
like that.
fight, right? Muhammad versus
Hmm.
Hamza is a great fight. I think that could be a really good fight. And if he beats
I
somebody
like
like a
what you're doing.
Bilal, then he can immediately call out somebody in the top 3. He can be like, give me Gilbert or give me Leon or give me Luque or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if he wins this, I think he should call out like a give me Bilal Muhammad or give me Jorge or give me Chiesa. I think he should call out one of those
Yes,
3.
sir.
Yeah.
Now,
But
another. Do you
let
think
me let me
Hamzat again fights in 2 months? Another
yeah,
fight?
yeah, I think so. I think he wants to fight like right away. He's like he's missed a whole year. I remember before he got this whole COVID thing, he was like, I want to fight whenever, as soon as possible. Like, give me fight, give me fight, give me fight. So I think he'll want to fight like as soon as possible, whenever, as soon
Hmm.
as his coaches will allow him to fight. Um, but do you know what's happening with Luque?
Vicente Luque was. They were trying to make his fight with Nate Diaz, and I don't think so. It's going through. I don't know what's happening there.
He
I
should
think the
fight.
last I heard.
He should fight the champion, whoever wins Usman and Colby. He should fight
Kobe,
that
yeah,
guy.
I
He's
think.
earned it, man. He's earned it. Who
No,
else
but
is
then
there?
what do you do with the winner of Jorge Masvidal and Leon Edwards? What do you do there? What if Leon beats Jorge Masvidal? Then Leon has to get a title shot, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is, yeah, maybe Vicente and winner of Masvidal, Leon, maybe, because I don't think Leon's gonna get a title shot if he beats Jorge. I don't think he's gonna get a title shot. I feel horrible for
What
him.
if
I don't think he's gonna
Masvidal
get.
beats what if Masvidal beats
Can you
Leon
imagine?
Edwards and
Immediately he
सारी
gets a title shot.
party खराब कर दे?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll get a
and
title
पूरी
shot if
party
he
खराब कर
beats
देगा.
Leon Edwards. He'll get a title shot because he's a star. Leon Edwards isn't a star. That guy's a star, so he will get a title shot.
Hmm.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, that was the thing. By the way, again, this is another guy who is very dangerous. Magomed Ankalev.
Light heavyweight, right? Huh? Light heavyweight.
Oh yeah,
Magomed Ankalaev and Ozdemir. Yeah.
I think
He's
Ankalev is
fucking
the
all
favorite.
these people from
Honestly,
Dagestan, man. It's a bloody invasion. It's a full scale invasion. Is he Dagestan as well? I
yeah,
think
man.
he's Dagestan. Yeah.
Ankalev, I don't know if he's from Dagestan or not. उनके सारे नाम भी एक जैसे होते हैं. Sorry.
वही तो, and I feel like they're made in a factory. सबके सब साले एक जैसे दिखते हैं. It's incredible. I almost feel like they're produced in a factory.
Grappler है, basically grappler है.
And he's a good grappler. Look at his let's
Yeah,
let's look at
yeah,
his stats. Look at his stats.
yeah.
So
Look at his
significant
grappling.
strikes is pretty good. Grappling takedown average is pretty good. Takedown accuracy is not great,
Yeah, but
but
now you know
takedown
how good
defense is
Islam
good.
Makhachev is because
Yeah.
Islam Makhachev's average was 3+.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
उसकी
His was
टेकडाउन एक्यूरेसी
88.
अच्छी नहीं है, 33% है. उसकी
Yeah,
60
अच्छी नहीं
प्लस
है.
थी, 65.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not bad. It's not bad. I think he has he's probably the favorite. If you look at the bookies, I would guess that Ankalaev is the favorite. Yeah, he's
Hmm.
minus 310 favorite. So it makes a lot of sense. I think Ankalaev again has too much because Ozdemir is not a grappler at all. Ozdemir is a pure striker. He's a
Yeah.
very good striker, but he's a pure striker. And his
People have forgotten Ozdemir got a title shot against DC.
yeah, yeah. It's just that Ozdemir came up against like monsters after DC. Like who did he fight? He fought Anthony Smith, who is just on a tear right now. Did he fight Anthony Smith?
नहीं,
I don't
उसने
remember. But he
इससे फाइट
fought
किया था ना
Giri
यार.
Prohaska.
वो कौन है यार? प्रहाश्का तो ठीक है, उसने वो दूसरे से लड़ाई की थी, रैकेट से.
Oh yeah, he fought Rakic
रैकेट से.
also. Yeah, he fought
Rakic,
Rakic. He
रैकेट
fought
से.
like really up and
And
coming
who was the
monsters.
guy who recently got a title shot, who lost to John Jones? नाम भूल गया उसका यार,
Gustafson?
नाम याद नहीं आ रहा. नहीं, गस्टफ्सन नहीं, ये जो जिसको यान ब्लाहोविच ने हरा दिया था अभी.
Oh,
नाम भूल गया उसका यार.
Reyes. Yeah,
Reyes, yeah,
Reyes.
Dominic Reyes.
Dominic
So
Reyes. Yeah.
Usmir fought Reyes
So he fought
too.
like monsters. He fought like Giri Prohaska. He fought Reyes. He fought like animals. So, let's not discount this guy.
Yeah, so
But
I'm just
I
trying
still
to.
think Ankalaev is probably the favorite for me. I don't know what
Yeah, I
his
think Ankalaev is the
Ozdemir's fight
favorite. Even I
record is.
agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think that he has any
Ozdemir.
chance.
Or let me
Let
see
me.
what his record is.
Yeah. So
Where is his
Usman's
stats?
record is 17-5.
17 and fight. And what's his who are his last fight? Does it say what his last fights were? Yeah, here we go. So yeah, he lost to Prohaska. He actually,
Yeah,
oh, never mind.
Prohaska. Uske pehle
Oh,
he
my
lost
bad.
to Rakic.
He beat Rat. No,
No,
he
no, he
beat
beat
Rat.
Rakic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he beat Rakic and he beat
Yeah, so I was
Latifi.
right. So he lost to Cormier, he lost to Anthony Smith, and he lost to Reyes. Then he beat
Yeah.
Latifi and he beat Rakic, and he lost to Prohaska, like brutally
Yeah, so
lost to
he's been
Prohaska.
fighting straight up killers
Yeah,
in
he's
MMA
fighting
terms.
monsters. He's fighting murderers, basically. That's the thing. And this guy is another possible murderer, Ankalaev. So good for him.
Oh, man. Freaking. This is
Good
going to
for
be.
Ozdemir on taking all these fucking crazy fights.
Yeah, so let me put up the prelim card now.
Yeah.
Because there are a couple of fights in the prelims that I actually am really looking forward to.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the one, obviously. Amanda Hibas versus Verna Danjiruba. I
Yeah.
actually like the way Danjiruba fights. I think she's going to win, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
this one is I'm really looking forward to. I
Which
want to
one?
see Zubaira fight again. Zubaira Tukugov, Ricardo Ramos. Zubaira is also Team Smash Factory.
Team Smash. And this guy,
Yeah.
what's his name? Kahan hai? Under there, if you go under a little bit. So Zubaira is very good, and this guy, Shamil Gazmatov.
Ah,
Gazmatov is another good fight.
yes, sir.
This is
ये भी
also a
बहुत
good
अच्छी
fight.
fight है.
Amir Khani
ये light
versus
heavyweight में.
Leron Murphy. Yeah,
Amir
featherweight.
Khani is fun to watch, yeah. I
Amir
like
Khan is
when
very fun to
every
watch.
time he
Leron
fights.
Murphy is fun to watch. They're both fun fighters.
Yep. यार ये
And
पूरा वो जो ईस्टर्न यूरोपियन एरिया है उसने टेक ओवर ही कर लिया मेरे को
यार
लगता है एमएमए.
ये दागिस्तान this another one जो जिसमें what's the other one? Chechnya, Dagestan, Chechnya, this entire area. So all of these people are Dagestani, Chechnya. There's a couple of good fighters coming from Georgia, like
Hmm.
European Georgia.
Hmm.
So that whole sort of little Slavic area, वहाँ से साले, they're just producing murderers. It's just murderers row over there.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. And
Yeah.
the talent doesn't seem to end. You have to understand this is just the UFC roster.
Yeah.
Now you have Bellator where you have Usman, right?
Mhm.
Nurmagomedov. He
Yeah.
is fighting over there. Then they have 3 4 more fighters over there who are all from that area.
Yeah.
Then if you go into PFL, there are some more fighters over there.
अरे they've
And
realized, I think they've realized कि देखो यार हमारा दागिस्तान में और कोई साला prospect तो है नहीं. सबसे बड़ा prospect पैसा कमाने का क्या है? Go into the fighting game, get into the UFC and make
man,
Khabib money. What else?
it's
What else are
crazy.
people doing in Dagestan? Nothing else. बोला इसी में जाओ यार.
Yes, okay, एक मिनट किसी ने क्वेश्चन पूछा है व्हाट आर व्यूज ऑन चैंडलर वर्सेस गेची. क्या फाइट होने वाली है यार ये.
You remember
मतलब
that somebody was making a joke about like the Vittori Costa fight when people were
या.
saying this is probably the least combined IQ in any fight. and, and Chandler and Gaethje is kind of the same. It's the second least combined IQ in any fight. So I'm excited. I'm
Yeah,
excited because it's going to be a bloodbath. That's why I'm excited.
I think this does not last beyond 2 rounds.
I would be
If
shocked. I would honestly be shocked because they both
yeah,
hit like
and I
trucks.
think Gaethje is going to. Uh, if Chandler wins, it has to be a first round TKO. Otherwise, second round Gaethje is gonna get
But
खिलाते तोड़
what
देगा
about
वो.
wrestling? What about on the wrestling front? Like, because I know it
कोई wrestle
always
नहीं.
happens, and we talk about it. It
Chandler कर
always
सकता है
happens
Gaethje.
that no. What I'm saying is, it always happens that when it's two wrestlers fighting, it's not a wrestling match; it's a stand-up brawl. Generally,
Chandler has that right hand, man.
he has got,
See,
but
people forget. Even in the
Chandler has a
title shot,
right
you
hand of
remember.
doom. Gaethje has a right hand of doom. They both have right
Okay,
hands
so
of doom.
leg kicks, man. Gaethje has leg. You remember, right? Even in that title fight that Chandler lost,
Yeah,
he was winning the first round.
yeah.
He just could
He
not
won the first
finish
round
him.
10-8. It was probably a
Oliveira
10-8. It was probably not a 10-8, but it could
10
have been a
10-8
10-8.
नहीं था.
10-8
10-8
नहीं
नहीं
था,
था,
but it
but
could have been a 10-8. I wouldn't have been shocked if some judge went like that's probably a 10-8 because
man, that was crazy.
Oliveira had him in a had his back for a little while, so it probably wasn't a 10-8. But he definitely won that first round in a landslide.
Yeah, so that pretty much covers UFC 267. But before we get into something, did you see the recent uh, Bellator card in Russia?
No, I didn't.
269.
No, 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 I
Okay, that
didn't.
was fun, man. Actually, it was a lot of fun.
I just saw Fedor knocking somebody out, and I was very happy because
Yeah,
I love
Johnson.
Fedor.
It
Yeah.
was it was a lot of fun. Johnson came into the cage with Hulk Hogan's music. जो Hulk Hogan का song होता था ना, वो रशिया में उसके साथ आया
That's
और
amazing.
it was so funny.
Got
I'm
knocked
a
out
real
cold.
American. And Park,
Yeah.
park. A
Oh
minute and
man.
40 seconds he got knocked out.
Well,
वो उसमें
45 years
कुछ
old that
fights
guy
अच्छी थी.
is. He's 45
Yeah,
years
yeah,
old.
yeah, yeah,
Fedor,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
still
So
murdering people.
Fyodor, yeah, Fyodor Emelianenko. And you know what the funniest part is? He's still not retiring. तो मैं तो
Yeah.
लड़ूंगा.
Abe, he's still murdering people, so why does he have to retire?
Yeah, so that was there, and then the last stoppage उसकी पूरी बैंड बज गई थी उसके लिए.
Yeah.
This is the guy I was talking about, Usman Nurmagomedov. Let me put the
Arey,
results up.
Nurmagomedov
Man.
also.
हाँ, ये कबीब का कजिन है ना ये.
Acha, cousin.
हाँ, कजिन है ना खबीब का ये एक्चुअली में कबीब का कजिन है. खबीब की टीम में है ये. सो
Acha.
ही अरे यार इसको तो ये लुल्ला फाइट दी थी टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट. मतलब सीरियसली लुल्ली फाइट दी थी इसको. सीरियस प्लेयर्स दो यार, ये मतलब ऐसे ही उड़ा रहा है लोगों को
Who's that
बैठ के.
fighter in the UFC? Isn't there a fighter in the UFC that keeps getting these dummy fights?
कौन यार?
Who's that
यूएफसी
guy?
में तो
There's
barely
a
किसी को डमी फाइट्स मिलती है.
no, there's one guy who keeps getting these dummy fights. I can't remember. I can't remember him. I'll have to think of his name. But
शॉन
anyway,
ओमैली.
Sean O'Malley. Yeah, Sean O'Malley. That's the one. He keeps getting like these Pedro Almeidas. Even his last fight was not against any kind of like a guy with a decent record. Like he had
So
an
so
okay record, the guy.
so I'll give you the logic behind it. So I can give you two parallels to it. Let's talk about Bellator first. So there's an amazing fighter. I'm very fond of him. This is Aaron Pico. Now Aaron Pico
Hmm.
started getting people who are much higher and tougher, and he lost.
Yeah.
And then what happened was that, look, this is how fight promotions think. If we are going to pay you X amount of money, we're going to
Yeah.
put you against killers. If you don't want, and Sean O'Malley is smart, he's giving me killer money. So why should I fight those killers? I'm going to fight people according to my pay grade. You want
Right.
me to fight those killers, you give me more money. And Sean
So you
O'Malley is
think it's a money
100%
thing?
right.
You think it's a
Yeah,
money
yeah, it's a
thing?
money
You
thing.
you you,
It's a
you,
money
you don't
thing.
think it's a question of like UFC trying to protect a potential assets
No. If
popularity?
they wanted to protect him, they would not have given him Chito Vera, right? Whom he lost to because he broke his leg.
Yeah, but Chito Vera was also not like red hot when Sean
But
O'Malley
he
fought
was
him.
ranked. He was ranked, right? Chito Vera is ranked. Sean was not ranked.
Sure, sure. But I think since then, so you think it's a money thing. That's why.
Yeah, and I think it's a money thing from Sean O'Malley's end. He's
Yeah.
been very vocal about it. He's like, I'm not gonna file killers while you give me kachra money.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Give me
fair.
more money and I'll fight them. He
Yeah.
he is smart, and I think what he's doing is the right thing. I think Sean O'Malley is playing his game and putting his cards in the right places. Um, Okay, again, Ashwin has
Yeah. See
asked, what
what?
about the Arlovsky fight? You see, he's talking about the last UFC fight night
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
Arlovsky won. No, no,
Yeah.
lastly, the one before
Arlovsky
that.
is
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
such a freaking legend, man. That guy. I think he'll be
Yeah,
like 90 years old and still like, Dana, give me fight, please.
yeah. So another good fight on the Bellator card was Anatoly Tokov versus Sharaf Davlat Murodov. I think this was a
Hmm.
good fight. If you guys can check it out, please do. Prelims मैंने नहीं देखे, so I can't comment on it. But I have to talk about this. The
Yeah.
last fight night, UFC fight night. Forget every other fight. We have to talk about this fight. Did you see Costa versus Vettori?
Oh
How
my
did
god.
Vettori take those kicks? Now
Yeah.
I get because of the stance, every time Costa used to kick, it was not hitting the liver. I get it, the liver kick hurts a lot more. So point taken. But did you listen to the third
The sound of those kicks, man. Yeah.
every time?
And
Every time he would punch him and
did you
kick him.
know that's fine also, but did you see that flush head kick he caught? Flush. Flush on his
Yeah,
temple, he
man.
catches a head kick and doesn't even move. He's like, okay, no problem. That
What
guy,
was that?
see, that's why I said not having a brain inside your skull can also be a
Yeah,
positive
man.
thing sometimes. His, his
Dude,
brain
what
is
the
so
hell
tiny that
was
there's
that?
too much like fluid in there. So he gets protected by head
I
damage.
I was shell shocked when I
Yeah.
I was actually, मैं तो एक state of shock में चले गया था जब मैंने उसको देखा. तूने fifth round देखा ना? I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
how. Look, Costa threw everything at him
Yeah.
in the fifth round, and you could see Vettori, slowing down, because it's very clear. Costa won the second round and the fifth round for sure,
Yeah.
and Vettori was, really on that verge, but it
Vittori
was
was just,
sheer.
it was volume. Vittori won on volume, basically.
Yeah, but
He
boss,
wasn't hurting
to
Costa really.
I remember the liver shot, the punch that Costa hit Vettori with in the body shot in the last round, fifth round. And I was like, how is he standing? How
Yeah.
can a human being stand? But ठीक है, fight तो amazing थी. But three three things I want your opinion on. Point number one, what did you make of Jason Herzog's point deduction in the second round for the eye poke? He immediately deducted a point. That's
Wo-
my first
And that
question.
was the first eye poke, right? Was that the second eye poke? Like, I
He
think
gave
that
him
was the,
warnings. To be fair to Jason Herzog, he gave him a
yeah.
lot of warnings. As like, please watch your hands, please watch your hands, and boom, the eye poke happened, and he deducted a point. What did you
Yeah,
guys?
I mean,
Did you think?
I get it, because if you give somebody a number of warnings and they still do it, you're not really left with a choice. But at the same time, I have seen so many fights in the last couple of months where there's been eye poke after eye poke after eye poke after eye poke, and you've only seen warnings, and you've only seen like, don't do that, I'll take a point, but the point is never taken. So I can see that if tomorrow Costa comes out and says, I have a problem with that point deduction, I can see why, because there's other fighters who've done this on numerous occasions and they have not had
Hmm.
point deductions. Recently this happened in some fight where there was like a number of eye pokes on a fighter, but they didn't take do the point reduction or whatever. But
There was another point deduction in the Francisco Trinaldo and Dwight Grant fight too, where
was that for
Dwight
the eye
Grant was
poke
also.
also?
Yeah, no, Trinaldo poked Dwight Grant and he was deducted a point too.
Acha,
So
acha.
that night, basically, that fight night was
Yeah,
point
like the
cutoff.
referees were a lot more strict in this fight night on the eye pokes than they have been in the past. So I
Yeah.
can, there was probably a lack of consistency there, but that's what should happen. If you poke somebody
Yeah,
like three or four
that
times,
was
you
my
should get a
question.
point
So,
deduction.
so do you think that the point deduction immediately is the right thing to do, or the leeway that is given to fighters in general
I think
is
you
the right
warned
thing
them
to
like
do?
twice. I think you warned them twice. You give them two warnings. Hey man, take it easy with those eye pokes, because it is entirely possible that one or two times it is completely accidental.
Hmm.
Accidental eye pokes happen, and yeah, GSP has talked about it on his show as well. When he was pitching his
Hmm.
gloves to UFC, he's like, the gloves are such that they put your hands out like this. Like, you have
Yeah,
to
it
try
should be like
very
this.
hard to like
थोड़ा
close your
curve होना
fist.
चाहिए.
Yeah, you have to try very hard to close your fist, and they've actually presented gloves to the UFC where you're able to close your fist a lot easier. So he says it's not necessarily the fighter's problem, it's the gloves that pull your hand back. And so your hands are like this whenever you're trying to throw a jab or you're trying to defend. So it's not always the fighter's problem. So some leeway needs to be given because the gloves are also problematic. But endless leeway cannot be given. You do it two or three times, and then after that, you should have a point deduction.
Also, Trevor Whitman seems to have developed certain gloves which he tried to pitch to UFC, but I think the problem there
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. That
UFC
one
said we'll
also,
have
huh?
to own the company, and Trevor refused to do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've heard Justin Gaethje talk about it, that we
Yep.
barely get any eye pokes because when they practice, they don't
Yeah.
wear UFC gloves; they wear Trevor Whitman's gloves,
Yep.
which he has basically designed personally,
Because it's much
and that
easier to
was.
close your fist. That's the thing. Like, you're supposed to have a closed fist, and the UFC gloves make it fairly difficult for you to have closed fists.
Hmm. I don't know why. UFC seems to be doing some things in an
Well,
absolutely absurd way.
they it's what can make you the most amount of money. Like, if you
Hmm.
own the branding, like if you own the apparel, if the UFC owns Reebok apparel or all of the, or if Venom is making all the apparel, then all the money goes to UFC and some money goes to Venom.
Yeah.
But if fighters are able to choose their own apparel, their own sponsorships, then the money goes to them. It doesn't go to the UFC.
True.
UFC wants to make as much
True.
money as possible. It's the same thing with the gloves. Because
Hmm.
Whitman doesn't want to sell his gloves, he wants to do a partnership. That means
Hmm.
Whitman will get money as well. And UFC wants कि भाई सारा का सारा पैसा मेरे को ही मिले.
UFC सारा पैसा खुद खाना चाहती है, बड़ी लालची है UFC. All right, another card that I could not watch the fights, but I think we should talk about it is this one. Just a couple of them. So the PFL just concluded 2021 season. So Kayla Harrison defeated Taylor Guardado via submission
कब
armbar
आएगी
in.
ये UFC में?
So इसके बारे में बात करते हैं. Ray Cooper 3 defeated Magomed Kerimov via KO at 302 of round 3 to win PFL welterweight tournament. Now this is the interesting one. Abigail Montez defeated Clarissa Shields. She's the boxing champion
Ooh,
via split decision. And
wow.
2-3 points that I want to talk about. So this is what disturbs me. So first I'll give you a little bit of information. This
Okay.
fight should not have been on the main card. Look, let's get real. Clarissa Shields is not a good fighter when it comes to MMA. They pushed this fight. Antonio Carlos Jr. versus Marcin Hamlet. Look, this is a light heavyweight tournament belt fight. They put it on the prelim
What?
to accommodate Clarissa Shields.
Clarissa Shields.
What is your reaction to this first? I knew
I
you
mean,
did not know it, so I wanted to
it's
see your
it's
reaction now.
it's it's the UFC model again. At the end of the day, if you look at the UFC doesn't really care about who's ranked, who's not ranked, who's deserving, who's not deserving. They care about what's going to get us eyeballs, what's going to get us pay-per-view buys, what's going to get us social media clicks, what's going to get us money. And I can't blame PFL for going down that same route. Why does Nate Diaz keep getting fight after fight after fight, despite losing the last 3 fights or something like that? He's a star. People want to watch him. Same with
Achha, another thing I wanted to talk to you about. 2 things. What do you make of Nick Diaz suddenly changing the weight category, and the same thing that Costa has done? So two layers to this. Nick, do you think both the situations are the same, or they're not? Secondly, do you think Costa will ever get a main event again in his life as far as the UFC is concerned?
How old is Costa? He's not that old. He's like 30, right? He's not that old at
30,
all.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah,
30.
do you think? I don't think so. So Dana White, in the post fights press con, said Costa will never fight in 185. He's going to 205. And Costa was like, no, मैं तो लड़ूंगा. But whatever. I think Costa's behavior was absurd in the whole fight week. I don't know what he was doing.
It was.
It was just
like
absurd.
You're supposed to be a 185 pounder, yeah. How are you bloody weighing in at 204?
Yeah.
How are you weighing in at 204, man? What are you doing? You have
it's
this
crazy.
fight prepared for 3 months. You have time, and somebody tweeted, Anthony Johnson tweeted, Rumble said that, yeah, I have missed weight a number of times in my career, but I've never bitched and moaned about missing weight or like having to lose weight or anything like that. Even if I missed weight, I have always tried my hardest to at least try to make the weight. Whenever I've missed weight by 1 pound, 2 pounds. That's it.
Yeah.
But this guy missed weight by 20 pounds almost, So that's I don't think that's almost inexcusable. If you miss weight by almost 20 pounds, that's inexcusable. Like when Rumble misses weight by like 1.5 pounds, that's like, whatever, man. But like 15, 20 pounds is ridiculous.
What did you make of Nick Diaz's comeback?
I got depressed.
I think he should retire. I don't know. I just found it very depressing. Especially his interview with who was that guy from ESPN? I just felt so sad listening to what Nick Diaz was saying. I just
after the fight.
Kyun lad raha hai yaar? No, before the fight.
Yeah, it looked like he felt like he had something to prove, but at the same time, not truly feeling like he had something to prove. Like it looks like it was more for pride than for really the need to, showcase himself or show that he still got it. It was like people think that I don't have it anymore. People think that I'm old news. I'm not really old news, but I don't really want to do this anymore. And he said so as much himself. That I don't like this weight cutting stuff. I don't like to prepare for a fight. When I'm in the fight, it's fine. But all the preparation, going to the gym every morning, I don't like that shit. So that that's the point when a fighter doesn't really want to do it anymore. That's what Paul Felder said. That he said, I'm quitting because I don't want to go to the gym every morning. I don't want to be like, okay, what happens when I win this fight? Do I want to fight again and again and again till I go to the championship? I just don't have that kind of desire anymore. I just want to chill. So I don't want to fight anymore. And that's where I feel like Nick Diaz is.
True, true. By the way, this guy Ray Cooper three who defeated Magomed,
Yeah.
he's a good fighter. So if you guys have not checked him out, highly recommend to check him out. He is one hell of a welterweight fighter. And this guy Magomed Kerimov is the guy who beat Tokov, I think. So
Oh,
he's no
wow.
chum either. He's
Yeah.
Tokov from Bellator. He's no chum either. These are very good fighters. But now okay, we have to talk about it. So Kayla Harrison की ये जो opponent थी उसका record क्या था मालूम है? Guardado
Yeah.
का 3-1.
So she's also getting patsies,
नहीं
basically.
मगर उसकी क्या गलती है देख पॉइंट
Uski
सो
galti nahi,
लेट्स
I
हैव
know.
दिस डिस्कशन सो व्हाट शुड अ फाइटर डू सो
Yeah.
लेट्स टेक द एग्जांपल सो जॉश थॉमसन टॉक्स अबाउट दिस ऑल द टाइम ऑन हिज पॉडकास्ट and I've heard the biggest proponent of free agency has been Eddie Alvarez. So
Yeah.
Eddie Alvarez is one guy who's virtually gone to almost every promotion and become a champion there. Bellator
Yeah.
champion tha, UFC champion tha. I don't know if he's won the championship and one championship. I don't think so he has. But
Not
एक और
yet.
जगह
Yeah.
पे गया था, he was a champion. But there is the Josh Thompson or the Eddie Alvarez school that says भाई हम तो पैसे के लिए जाएंगे जिधर सबसे ज्यादा पैसा मिलेगा उधर जाएंगे.
Yeah.
Now, in Kayla Harrison's case, it is crystal clear that she is the face of the PFL and they
Yeah.
are paying her shitloads of money to fight in the PFL. But there are three problems here. PFL, I'm not trying to put PFL down. I think they put some great fights up. And by the way, anybody
Yeah.
who underestimates these promotions, just remember Pettis went there, lost. Who's the guy who beat Fyodor? यार वो जो Brazilian heavyweight था यार मैं
Oh,
नाम
yeah,
भूल
yeah,
गया
yeah.
क्या नाम
Verdum.
वर्डूम लॉस्ट और एक और बंदा उधर गया था ये जो कैनेडियन है जो जीएसपी के साथ फाइट करता था जिसकी रॉरी मैकडोनल्ड के साथ ये तो मैकडोनल्ड वो भी गया था
McDonald.
पीएफएल
Yeah.
में और या वो भी हार गया सो डू नॉट अंडर एस्टिमेट बेलेटोर और
Yeah.
पीएफएल आई एम नॉट सेइंग देयर एज गुड एज UFC but there are good fighters there but having
Yeah.
said that Kayla Harrison's a unique case. She fights at 155 pounds. So a lot of time PFL has to put fighters who are 135 or 145 pound fighters over there. She's not cutting weight and coming down. She clearly showed in that Invicta FC fight where she could easily cut to 145 and she
Yeah.
went there while COVID was happening and PFL was shut. The thing is that she gets shitloads of money in PFL. Now, if she comes to UFC, she does not have that kind of bargaining chip that she has with
You
PFL
don't think?
because because UFC has faces like Rose Namajunas,
I know, but
Jacek,
like
Amanda
you're looking
Nunes.
at, I know, but speaking of Amanda Nunes, you're looking at a fighter and a champion who basically has no competition in her division. Zero.
Hmm.
Nobody has even come close to giving Amanda Nunes any kind of trouble. Nobody.
Hmm.
And then you can UFC is very good at marketing people. You can market this Kayla Harrison as this like Ivan Drago kind of character, who's like coming from PFL, and she's very good at selling herself as well. She can come and she can like call out Amanda Nunes and she can be like, I will come to the UFC
They're in the
and I will
same
beat Amanda Nunes
academy,
into the
by the
ground.
way. They're in the same one, right?
Yeah, 145. They can both fight 145. And 145 has no fighters in the UFC. Nothing. खाली पड़ा है पूरा बियाबान है वहां पर.
वो
So they
बेलेटोर भी
need
खाली
a
है
star.
UFC भी खाली है ना वो भी
They
प्रॉब्लम है
need a star. They need a star badly because this Amanda Nunes just beating chumps is gonna get boring very quickly. And then she's gonna stop selling tickets. She's gonna stop selling pay-per-views because they're like, अरे यार Amanda Nunes आएगी किसी को पीटेगी घर जाएगी. What's the point? But if you have somebody like a Kayla Harrison, then immediately it's like, ooh, I don't know about this fight.
So, in my view, Kayla Harrison ke liye, there are two ways to look at it. I don't think so UFC will give her the kind of money PFL is. I'm just being very honest here. Until and unless she doesn't become a champion in UFC. That's just the fact of life. Because she brings unique value to PFL. She does not bring that level of uniqueness to UFC. They
Sure,
have
but tell
enough
me
stars
this.
over there.
Tell me this. What if she comes, immediately is put into a title fight with Nunes, beats Nunes? Do you
Yeah,
think
but
the
do you
ceiling
think
of the
they'll give her
money?
a title fight?
Yeah. Who's Nunes gonna fight? Nobody. Who's there in her division to fight? कोई है ही नहीं. खाली पड़ा है बेचारी, घर पे बैठ के चिलैक्स कर रही है, बच्चों के साथ खेल रही है, कुछ करने को है ही नहीं उसके पास. So give her an actual fight. What happens if she comes to the UFC? ठीक है, in her Nunes fight she doesn't get paid a lot, no worries. But what happens if she beats Nunes and becomes champion? The ceiling
Then she
of,
becomes a champion. Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying.
but
Like the ceiling of the kind of money that she can make if she's UFC champion is much higher than the amount of money that she can make in the PFL.
but
That's
here's
the
the
thing.
problem, right? The signing money is going to be the big problem here because I mean, have you seen Dana White's comments? The recent comment he made on Kayla Harrison. He's like, "Look, Kayla is making tons of money. I think she should stay in PFL." Was basically the gist of the
Yeah.
message Dana White
Yeah.
gave.
Well, obviously,
So
he's trying to make sure that he doesn't have to pay Kayla Harrison a lot. That's why he's saying he'll be happy to have her in the UFC, but he doesn't want to pay her a shit ton of money. That's why he's
true,
saying, yo, stay in the PFL. Don't worry.
true. But I think Kayla Harrison has to go either to Bellator or UFC. Personally, I would not want her to go to UFC. I want her to go to Bellator, fight
Why?
Cyborg.
Oh,
I
yeah.
Cyborg
Yeah, that's a good
is
fight.
the one. I think PFL, and now she's a free agent, by the way. So this was her last fight with
Okay.
PFL. Her contract has expired now. I think she's a free agent now. I think most probably, I think Bellator is going to pick her up
Sign her.
and let her show her, heft in Bellator,
Yeah.
and then maybe after that,
Yeah.
maybe finally 2 years down the line, she can make that journey to UFC. But Kayla
Hmm.
Harrison, and here's the thing with you know upper weight classes. You have a lot of fighters in 105, 115 pounds, um, and then it starts reducing. Like
Yeah.
just see what's happening at 125 pounds. Look, I'm not trying to put down any 125-pound fighter, but look at how Valentina Shevchenko is just
Yeah.
dominating
She's
that
just eating
division.
everyone. Yeah.
या मतलब वो मतलब उससे वही याद आता है, देखो ये मजाक हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है इधर, मतलब वही काइंड ऑफ फीलिंग आती है जब वैलेंटीना फाइट करती है.
Yeah.
एंड it's just, and then the same story is there in 135, although 135 में फिर भी कुछ अच्छे थे. You have a few 5-6 good fighters there, but
Yeah.
I mean Amanda Nunes is just loads loads
It's
loads
the
loads ahead of all
115.
of
That's
them.
the most competitive one, I think.
Yeah, that's the best. I think
It's the
women
best
में
division.
115-pound division is the best division.
Yeah.
I think by far the best division. And I I just feel I don't know what's going to happen. Another good fight, I think, is coming down in Singapore. One championship announced some changes to their new card, next gen card, is going to be on 29th of October. And I think Ritu Fogart now has a new
So her
opponent now.
opponent dropped out. Yeah.
Yeah, so she was supposed to fight uh, someone else. I mean, I think she has stepped in because Itsuki Hirata withdrew from her
Hmm.
fight with Janelin Oslim, and I think Ritu is going
Yeah.
to come in and fight her now in the World Grand Prix. So I
Yeah.
think Ritu comes in as a late replacement in that fight. Obviously, as Indians, we would want Ritu to win, and we hope.
Yeah. And again, if you're looking for, if you're either sick of cricket or you just looking for other sports to do well in India as well, go support an Indian sports person, man. An up and coming fighter
Yeah,
like Ritu, go support her.
absolutely. We should,
Yeah.
we should, we
How cool
should,
would it be
and
have to have a one champion, an Indian one champion? How cool would that be?
it would be amazing.
Arjun
I
Bhullar
think
does not
India
count.
needs.
Yeah.
Bhullard is not
Bhullar
Indian.
does not count.
Bhullard,
Yeah.
Bhullard is a Canadian fighter.
Yeah.
Uh, One more thing. Did you see Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3? Did you see that fight? What a fight. What a fight. The heavyweight division is back.
Oh my God, man. What a fight that was. But, and that's the thing. Like, there is no fighter, I think, heavyweight fighter in the world in the last 15, 20 years like Tyson Fury. There's just not been a boxer like that. Like, that guy has no right to move as quickly and as
Yeah.
lightly as he does. He has no right in the world. If you're at 6'9", whatever the hell, 280 pounds or whatever the hell he was, 265 or something like that, you
Mm-hmm.
have no right on God's green earth to move that quickly. That's ridiculous. That's some robot shit right there. So yeah, it's
Man.
the level, जो difference था ना boxing के level में between
Hmm.
Wilder and Fury was just too big. Fury is too technical, too quick, too proficient for Wilder. Wilder के साथ क्या है कि he just hits very, very hard. And he dropped Fury twice. Like,
Fourth
he's
round.
not a very technical boxer, but ये साला मारता है तो मर जाओगे. That's the thing with
Yeah,
Wilder.
but he has knocked everyone out
Yeah, because he hits
other
like a
than
bloody
Fury.
building.
But what does it say about Fury and his chin? How? I mean, just think about it.
Yeah.
Till round 3, you were like, Wilder क्यों लड़ा? And then round 4 comes, and he's
Not
like,
for
okay, मैं
two
इसके लिए लड़ा.
knockdowns. Two knockdowns. Bam, bam.
I mean, it's
Or
crazy,
the
man.
second knockdown. Did you see that second knockdown? Any
Yeah.
other fighter in the world dies after eating that punch.
Only Tyson Fury gets out of
Only
this.
that.
Only.
सिर्फ वो साला खड़ा हो गया. मैंने कहा यार, that punch was flush on the face, or how it didn't, any other fighter it would have killed. वो साला लेटा उसके बाद खड़ा भी हो गया तुरंत. मैं कहा ये गजब आदमी है भाई.
And let's talk about this too. Did you see Usyk versus Joshua? Did you see that fight? Oh my God. Joshua again got
Yeah, look at
outboxed.
this. This is a great comment. He said, MMA fan, make Joshua and Fury stand side by side and try and explaining to your girlfriend that Fury is the better boxer. Seriously, man. Seriously.
But okay, so let's talk about the heavyweight scenario.
Yeah.
I know, by the way, we are going to have, I think, Canelo is fighting very soon, so I'm really excited about that. So I know that is coming. But let's talk about this. So basically, Usyk ने आके party खराब कर दी है अभी.
Yeah.
So do you think so Joshua has obviously gone for the rematch because boxing has that clauses होते हैं ना, इनके contracts में clauses होते हैं. So
it's Joshua Usyk, right?
Joshua Usyk का तो rematch होगा.
Huh.
Now, so I think they're going to either. So what do you think Tyson Fury should do at this time? So does he wait for the Usyk Joshua win fight to finish, or does he take on Dillian White?
What's the bigger fight?
Dillian White is
Bigger-
about to fight someone. I forgot the name of
Yeah.
that person, but I'm assuming Dillian White is going to win.
I feel like if you're
And then
Tyson Fury, just do super fights, man. Why do you care? Just do super fights. Don't do this. Array, I'm gonna fight and defend my belt. I'll
No, but
just
Dillian
I'll
fight
just do
is
super
going to be a
fights.
good super fight too. Dillian, look, this is the first time that the heavyweight division has Joshua. Usyk is not heavyweight, but okay, now he is. So you can talk Usyk, Andy Ruiz, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Dillian White. There are some really
Heavyweights
good.
looking good after a long time.
Yeah, because see, the Klitschko era was jab, jab, clinch,
Yeah.
jab, jab, clinch. That's the Klitschko era. And full respect to both Vitali and Vladimir Klitschko. They were legends and they dominated, right? But the point was, boxing lost a lot of fans.
Yeah.
It's a fight sport, right? You want violence. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
And the
You
thing
want
is,
violence.
it's not that Tyson Fury is like the most violent, hardest. You know, Tyson Fury is not Mike Tyson.
He's all
Mike Tyson
technique.
used to murder people, send them to hell. Tyson Fury is not doing that. Tyson Fury is just such. He's on another level when it comes to like technique. His technique is unmatched in the last 20 years. There's not a boxer who is as technically proficient as Tyson Fury. And he's large, built like a brick shit house, and he's the most technical boxer I've seen in the last 20 years. That's why it's so exciting. And he talks good shit too. So he talks a
So
good
let
game.
me put few combinations to you. Usyk, Joshua. Do you think Joshua wins the rematch? I'll give you my answer first. I think no. I think Usyk pieces him up again.
Yeah, I think so. But Usyk Fury is still a great fight. Joshua Fury is a great fight. I think Usyk Fury is also a great fight. I would be
I
down
think
for
Joshua.
both.
I think Fury destroys Joshua. I think Fury destroys Usyk. But I'll tell you one fight that they should make now. If Usyk and Joshua ends up with Usyk winning, then they do Fury Usyk, but they should do Deontay Wilder versus Joshua. I think that's what they should do. And
That's a good
let
fight
me
to
put
make.
put this on record. I think Wilder beats Joshua.
Yeah,
Because Joshua does not have that Fury
Joshua's chin has come into question in the last couple of years. That's the thing.
Yes, sir.
And if
Yes,
you
sir.
get hit by, if you're willing to get hit by Wilder, you better pray to God you have a very good chin,
Oh yes.
because he
Oh
will kill you.
yes.
Yeah, he will send
Oh
you into
yes.
the fourth dimension.
I don't know where one fits Andy Ruiz in this entire thing and Dillian
Yeah.
White, but look, we have some really good fights. By the way, Rico Verhoeven also won
Oh yeah, that's true.
a fight in
Yeah.
Glory. That was a killer fight. You should have
Yeah.
seen that. Oh, complete violence. It was a trilogy. Complete violence. By the way,
Yeah.
you have
I hope
Teofimo
that guy
Lopez
comes over
versus
to the UFC
Tank
sometime,
Davis.
man. I would like to see that
Yeah.
guy sometime in the UFC, because like that guy reminds me a lot of Cyril Gahn.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Rico Verhoeven is just such a technical fighter,
Yeah,
man.
that's what I'm saying.
He's
He
amazing
reminds
to
me a
watch.
lot of
He's
Cyril
amazing
Gahn.
to
So I'm
watch.
like, that guy could probably do well in the UFC.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to Canelo's fight too. But I don't know if you heard this news. A couple of news. So so obviously Aaron Bronstetter tweeted this. Kevin Lee has been removed from the UFC fan rankings pool. Lee recently revealed that he had been flagged for a banned substance. I think it was
Huh.
Adderall, if I remember correctly,
Right.
which may be the cause for this removal. So
Hmm.
that's one news. But the other news is what I want to share with you. So, UFC veteran Mike Perry has inked a multi fight contract to join Bkfc.
The hell is
That's
BKFC?
good news.
What is
Bare Knuckle
BKFC?
Fighting Championship.
Oh, he's going bare knuckle.
That's Mike
Yeah,
Perry's
that
thing.
that
He doesn't
is
have to
that is
wrestle.
yeah, that is Mike Perry's like ultimate destination. I feel like usko wahi jana tha.
He's
He's got
made
all
for
the
it,
see.
man.
He's got all the tools. He can't wrestle. He's got tons of brain damage, and he's a good boxer. So he's perfect for bare
Not
knuckle
only
fighting.
no, but and he his mindset is made for BKFC.
Yeah,
वहाँ पे
yeah,
वो जो
he'll be
टटी
perfect.
टटी टटी लेवल का जो काम होता है वो वहीं पे
Ah,
होता है वो
he'll be
बेस्ट है
very
वो
good. Good. This is a good partnership.
yeah, it's brilliant. So
Yeah,
I was so happy when I read this news. I was like, शाबाश माइक पेरी
बिल्कुल सही किया.
तुम अपने मकाम पे पहुंच गए हो जहां तुम्हें होना चाहिए था. I was like,
His
whoa,
natural
this is the
home.
best news.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so excited with that news. Where I was like, damn, Mike Perry finally, you know, you go to the one place where you belong, and
Yes.
I'm happy, and I wish him all the best. I think he's going to be a good addition to BKFC. And he's going to be fighting in the welterweight division, where, if I remember correctly, Thiago Alves, who was a fighter from UFC, is going to
Yeah.
be or is the current champion. So now one last thing, what did you make of this entire Jake Paul fiasco with Tyron Woodley, and
Arey
what do you
yaar.
think? How do you think this is going to be over, or there is still
Oh no, no.
something left to milk it?
Oh, between them two, is this over, or do you mean between Jake Paul and like
No,
UFC fighters?
Jake Paul, the cash cow. Let's
No, no,
talk
this is
about
not
that.
over. This is not over. This is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is a great way for UFC fighters who are either at the end of their career or who are looking for a big payday. This is a very good way for them to make a little bit extra cash. So I think
Hmm.
more and more UFC fighters who are either who are in that position are going to be like, hey man, I'll fight you. Don't worry about it. I'll fight you. And UFC MMA fans will hate it, but hey man, money talks at the end of the day. If you can get eyeballs and money, then
I
fighters
agree.
are willing to do it. Yeah, fighters will be willing to do it. I won't be surprised if one day Nate Diaz is like, screw it, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. One last thing we'll discuss, and then we'll wrap today's discussion up. John Jones and
John
okay.
Jones
So
versus John Jones. That's the ultimate fight.
yeah. So I mean, did you see his Insta posts? I mean, his attempt to kind of resurrect his image, and
No, what did
I
he
don't know what's
do?
happening, man. वो यार मैं मेहनत करूंगा मुझे शराब
Oh,
नहीं पीनी
that's what he
चाहिए
always says. That's what he always said. I just
just
work hard, keep my
यार वो
head
बंदा
down.
है ना वो खुद का सबसे बड़ा दुश्मन है
Huh.
और फिर वो वायलेंट बॉब रॉस वो तो पकड़ा ही गया है डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के लिए
Uh,
वो हुआ है और चक लिडेल के केस में उसकी वाइफ ने आई थिंक ऐसा कुछ हुआ था कि
oh
उसने
shit,
स्टेटमेंट
really?
दी थी
Huh.
हाँ तो उसकी वाइफ ने उससे किया था तो वो चले गया क्योंकि कैलिफोर्निया में लॉ है कि आप जब जाते हो और डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस होती है तो किसी
Huh.
एक को जेल जाना पड़ता है सेपरेट करने के लिए. So
Yeah.
चक ने बोला नहीं मेरी वाइफ नहीं जाएगी, मैं जाऊंगा, और बाद में आई थिंक दे फाइल्ड फॉर डिवोर्स. So ये सब जब तू शादी कर रहा था और घूमी घूमी गया था, तो ये सब हुआ है
ये सब हो रहा था.
MMA के वर्ल्ड में.
हाँ, जॉन जोन्स
So I
वाला तो
think
मैंने
we've
देखा
covered
था.
everything.
हाँ, that
Yeah,
I saw.
I was so deeply disappointed, and one big news that I think we'll talk about this also. COVID and its impact on mixed martial arts down under.
Hmm.
New Zealand has pretty much decided to destroy mixed martial arts. I think
Wow.
they have given exemptions to cricket.
Hmm.
They have given exemptions to the black caps. But it seems as if MMA does not deserve exemptions. And did you see the whole thing about Israel Adesanya talking about it openly and saying, I'm never fighting in New Zealand again. I
Wow.
tried
No,
to
I didn't
put
see
the
that.
sport on the map in New Zealand,
Yeah.
and these guys don't care for us.
Yeah.
Dan
Yeah.
Hooker, poor guy,
Him and
he's
Hooker. Yeah.
fighting. Yeah, so these guys have been talking about it, and
And
it
they've
has
got
come to
good
a
people
point that I
coming up
think,
too, like Kaikara France. They've got good people coming up
yeah.
too.
Kaikara France is fighting this guy,
On
Cody
268, he's
Garbrandt.
fighting, right? Huh.
Yeah, Cody Garbrandt.
Hmm.
So it has come to a point that I think City Kickboxing has decided that most probably they're going to move to the United States of America from New Zealand. And this is a
Oh,
huge blow
wow.
to mixed martial arts down
Wow.
under. Mixed martial arts was coming up down under. They had some
Yeah, in a
killer
big
fighters
way.
in Australia and New Zealand.
Arey
And
yaar, you have two
this,
champions from that area now. You have two champions from
yeah,
that
yeah.
area. Yeah.
And what do you think then? What happens to Adesanya Whitaker now that Australia and New Zealand are prison island officially? Uh, और क्या बोलेंगे यार, they're
Yeah,
prison island. They've gone
that's what it
bonkers
is.
with COVID. I think this has gone crazy with COVID.
Yeah.
Their COVID policies make no sense anymore.
Yeah.
And do you? I mean, I just feel it is such
I don't
a
know. I don't
loss.
know. If nothing changes, I think a lot depends on what happens in 2022. If nothing changes in 2022, then all these businesses like City Kickboxing, their hand will be forced. Then New Zealand government can't complain ki arey arey kyun chale gaye and all that. Because if you still are following these same policies in 2022, then you're forcing people's hand. Then City Kickboxing has two options: either to just shut down shop or move to another
Yeah,
country. So I think they'll stick it out because City Kickboxing, it's New Zealand run, it's run by a Maori guy. So I think they'll stick it out for a little while more. But if 2022 is just like 2021 in New Zealand, I can see them moving. Yeah, and that's a shame because it's a huge loss for New Zealand.
I think they'll move because I'm trying to look at that clip by Behen Jacinda,
Oh
where she
yeah,
was
yeah, I
asked a question.
remember, like vaccinated and unvaccinated class. That one, right?
Yeah, I mean, what the hell? Okay, yeah, here
Yeah.
it is. Let you see. We have to play this. Look, you can't have leaders saying things like this with a straight face. Scares the
They
shit
do
out of me.
all the time.
I mean, just
बहन
listen to
जसिंडा
this.
तो
What the
हमेशा से
hell?
ऐसी ही रही हैं. Yeah.
Jacinda ने मतलब की कितना ही look at this. Just
So you basically said this is going to be like, well, it's almost like, you probably don't see it like this, the two different classes of people. If you're vaccinated or if you're unvaccinated, you have all these rights. If you are vaccinated,
That is what it is. So, yep.
can you describe it? You were previously hoping not to have to do that, I guess, when we still looked like we could maintain elimination across the whole country. I guess that has now changed because
I think it was less because necessarily of the elimination determining that, and more because we, of course, maintained, and actually we have managed very high vaccination rates generally without the use of certificates. But actually what it's become clear to me is that they're not just a tool to drive up vaccines. They're a tool for confidence. People who have been vaccinated will want to know that they're around other vaccinated people. They want to know
Really?
that they're in a safe environment. It is a way that we can give confidence to those who are going back into hospitality or events. And so that is something that I think we should offer to people who have been vaccinated, that confidence that we're doing everything we can to keep them safe and that they can come back out and start enjoying those things.
look, this is coming from a guy who's
ये तो
as
मौज है.
pro-vaccine as possible. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
very pro-vaccines, but this scares me. And I think I'm not that optimistic about City Kickboxing actually staying over back in New Zealand. I think they're moving to America. I think they will go to a red state. They will pick one of the red states. I think
Yeah, go
they'll
to
either go to
Texas.
Florida
Yeah.
or
Go to
Texas, and
Texas,
they'll
go
set
to
up
like
shop there.
Colorado. Colorado's a big MMA state.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
this is going to happen for sure, and it's New Zealand's loss because I
Yeah.
think that side of the world has such a huge talent base, and बस 50-52 लाख लोग हैं और क्या फाइटर पैदा कर रहे हैं यार,
Yeah.
क्या फाइटर्स ला रहे हैं, एक से एक फाइटर्स ला रहे
But
हैं,
yeah,
and
no,
they
it's good. It's good. It's bad news for that area, but it's probably good news for Africa. Like African countries बोलेंगे कि ठीक है तुम लोग उधर से जाओ. The money that MMA loses in Oceania, they'll make up in Africa. हम लोग will take up the baton.
yeah, it's
हमारे भी
crazy.
तो
I think
champion है.
COVID paranoia needs to end, and I think
Yeah.
it's also, I don't know how, I'm not trying to impugn motives, but I think it has also got to do with that, combat sports in general have a very bad rap
Yeah.
in the eyes of the common public, and it's like, "ये तो मारते हो तुम एक दूसरे को," kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know why cricket and rugby can get a special exemption in
Yeah.
New Zealand and not mixed martial arts. I
Well,
just don't get it.
rugby is a state religion, so rugby I can see why. Rugby is the state religion in New Zealand, but cricket, साला, but क्यों? क्रिकेट में ऐसा क्या उखाड़ के रखा हुआ है न्यूजीलैंड में? कुछ भी नहीं है.
Yeah, it's just disgusting. Chalo,
Yeah.
anything else you want to talk about, Sham, or we
No, I
wrapped
think
it
we're
up?
good. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, as always, pleasure talking to you, Sham. We will be back next week. As always, we'll first do the Sham Sharma show, and then we'll hop on and we'll talk about the one card that we're all excited about, UFC 268. That's a freaking crazy card. So, as always, guys, go and subscribe to Sham's channel and support him over there. Subscribe to my channel, like the video, leave a comment, become a member on Patreon, YouTube. You know the drill, or send your donations through UPI or buy the merch. I'll see you next week. Until then, by the way, I think on the first, Sham and I and Nikhil are talking about a very serious topic where we are going to discuss wokeism in sports. So
Yes.
please look forward to that chat. That will be on 8 p.m. IST. But we'll see you next Monday. Sham and I will be definitely there. Most probably Nikhil Mehra will also join us. So I'll see you next